welcome to Got Next Gaming. Your host, Ep1Way here, bringing you the No Man's Sky Foundation update. This is actually the patch of 1.1.2, no, 1.12, yeah, that's it. Whatever it is, it's a patch. It's a major update, and we're going to dive into this here. We're going to give you some thoughts and impressions, some opinions. No review here, just kind of talk about the game a little bit and what it's all about. There's some new modes. Normal mode is your last save from when you started playing the game from the beginning. There is a survival mode, and then there's a creative mode, which is like sandbox and kind of go in and build everything and unlimited health resources and no costs and blah blah blah. Just have fun building stuff the way you want. We are going to take a look at both of them here. I did do a creative mode right away, but I'm going to go jump into survival here as we're getting ready to go into the game for its first major update. And I'm super excited about this. I got to be honest with you. I put aside everything else that I was doing to work on this, and I actually put in 4 hours into this game. No joke, folks. 4 hours I put into it, as it was just one of those things that I did not want to put down because I liked what I saw. And we're going to talk about that. And again, this is one of those games that I think really has the potential to be something. And I believe the developers, when they say that they're going to add to this game and they're going to make it better. And this foundation update is definitely a step in the right direction. It's something that you guys are going to love. I absolutely loved it. So just like it did in the beginning when you first started the game, you're going to come in here and initialize, and you get your player who starts up your character or whatever you want to call them, and you get to start off on a planet. And again, remember, this is survival mode, so you definitely have some work to do here to get things going. You're going to get your suit up and running, and you're going to get all of your multi-tool going and everything else, and you kind of get a look around at the world you're in. I will tell you this, folks, survival mode is no joke. It is hard, and you will see that as we go through here. I'm going to explain some stuff as we run through to see what needs to be done and what has to happen in survival mode. It's one of those things that you're going to, like I said, it wasn't easy at all, and we're going to talk about that a little bit as we go through here and we show you what's happening. So you do get your planet, you get to see what you're on, and I will tell you that you start off on a very harsh planet. It's snow, it's got some resources, it's got plants and animals and the sentinels and everything else, but it's an extremely cold planet at negative 46 Fahrenheit, not Fahrenheit, Celsius. It's super cold, and your life support or your thermal protection goes down constantly as you're rolling through. And you have these little safe havens like this here. This is one of them, and they're very far and few between where you can kind of go in and warm up and things like that. But there's a lot of stuff to worry about as you're making your way through. So you start off with this little bases where you wake up, and your ship is nowhere to be found. Actually, your ship is really far away. You can see the little icon. We'll kind of focus on that in a little bit going forward. But you mainly have to go out there and gather a whole bunch of resources. You have to fix your crashed starship. You have to find it, fix it, and you do have to fix some of your equipment as well that's on you. So like your visor and I believe the scanner, it needs to be fixed, and you have to go out and get resources to fix those pieces of your multi-tool, and then find your way to your starship, which again, like I said, it's not easy to do. This is survival mode, and they make it no joke, folks. It's absolutely no joke whatsoever. So you definitely want to get a save point. Save points are very important. You need the save point. If you don't do the save, you're going to be screwed later on. Trust me when I tell you, you will see. I promise you that. You will definitely see what I'm talking about. So now it's time for us to get out on our way. I'm going to try and find some resources. We need an advanced mining laser for that one, so we can't even pick up titanium at this point. Like I said, not easy. So we got to go through the world and do what we got to do, and our thermal protection is dropping all the while. And we can see our starship is 14 minutes away by foot, and we're going to just try to do the best we can here. Our thermal protection has dropped. It's extremely cold now. We're trying to gather resources, iron and carbon, just to keep stuff going. And you have to kind of get your suit going as well, and that's the tough part about it. So the way to do this, I got to be honest with you, I don't really have a great answer. These environments are super harsh, so you have to work on it. I mean, it's a lot of work going and finding the resources you need to keep things up. Like your shield drops down and you lose your shield. Your thermal protection's completely down. Now this is on a cold planet. I ran through it actually. I'll be completely honest with you. I actually had to restart, and I'll explain that later on why I had to restart the game, because things just got that bad for me at some point. And yeah, like I said, super challenging, and I did not want to put it down. I put 4 hours into it to start things off, which was really crazy. So going through here, you can find caves, which will kind of, the temperature goes up in the cave and it's not super extreme cold, and kind of helps your thermal protection a little bit. As you can see, I'm going in here trying to figure out how to get my life support up. I need to find certain resources for that. And then, of course, I need to get my ship fixed as well. I need to fix my scanner and my visor so that I can analyze the animals and the plants and things like that as well. These are things that need to be fixed. Again, gathering resources in order to get this stuff working for us. So we're going to run on through. We're going to pick up our resources. You see, we have some carbon there, and we got some platinum on the side. And these are all important resources that we need. Our life support is offline, so now we have to find something to get our life support back up again, because this is something that drops as well as you go through, and you have to recharge it as you go. It's just something that happens, and you have no choice. Our life support again is dropping here as we're going to be going into a cave. It's negative 60 Celsius right now, and we're going to try to warm up a little bit, but not quite. We wind up dying. I believe that life is a game. That life is a cruel joke. And that's the way that kind of goes for us right there. And I'm going to tell you the truth. I die about 10 times before I actually make it to my ship. Yeah, there were some things that I needed to work on, and things you need to focus on and everything else. So you see Generation 1 here. We died by hypothermia, and that's just kind of the way things go. And that was the way it kind of ran for me the whole time. I just kept running out of resources, kept running out of life support. Wasn't I don't know if it was poor planning. I don't know if it was just that harsh of an environment, but it definitely takes a lot of focus to figure it out. So you start off where you last saved. So save points are important. If you can gather resources to build yourself a beacon and get save points, that might be something you want to do too, because you can definitely do that. You can build a beacon to do a save, but you need some pretty sick resources for that. Through a couple of these tries, what I tried to do is I tried to build up as many resources as I possibly could for the long haul and the long run, to kind of keep the suit up and the shields up and everything else. We would find pieces like this here where it's like iridium, and I can kind of mine into it, and I would use it as a shelter, believe it or not, doing everything I possibly could, because it was negative 46 Celsius. As long as I came into here at negative 24, my thermal protection would actually start to bounce back up and work its way back up. If I stayed inside of like one of these rocks, I'd mine out a hole, and I'd stay in there for a little bit until my protection came back up, and then I'd work my way over to the next one as I moved along. And this is just one of those things I had to do, all the while trying to pick up the resources that I needed for everything else. And again, my thermal protection dropping every time I'm in the outdoors, and just nothing you can do with that at all. Just pick up as many resources as possible. Try to get to your ship if at all possible. And here we're actually approaching our ship. And again, like I said, folks, this is 4 hours worth of footage, so I cut a lot of it out just to kind of get the key points in here to talk about the update and how exciting it was and how much fun it was. We finally get to our ship, we find it, and it's going to be just more heartache and pain as we run through this here. We find some more technology, and this has, there's some resources here as well. We don't have an Atlas pad, so we can't even pick up anything from there. But kind of like the original game was, where a lot of resource gathering and things like that. But at least it was more challenging to try to get to this point. So now you have the whole Atlas thing, and this is kind of where the survival mode takes off to a point where it's like, we want to explore freely, or do we want to accept the Atlas guidance and blah 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 and all that stuff. And up to you where you want to go with it and what you want to do. Maybe you want to kind of just build yourself a base and stay on the planet, or maybe find a decent planet first, because this planet was super harsh and hard to live in. So you can see we can't even quite take off yet, as we don't have the necessary resources to fix the pulse engine, and we're kind of stuck here at this point. We have the ship, but we're going to have to find our way around, and we've stared into the face of death, and death blinked first, and it's just kind of the way it goes all the way through. I think I died like 4 or 5 more times, where I finally gave up, and I actually restarted the game because there was just no resources left around where I was to get the ship going. So I started all over again, and then just got myself to the ship, and we took off. And now we're going to start looking at the other aspects of the game. We're going to take a look at the creative mode in the sandbox. We're going to take a look at the space stations and things like that, where we'll try to find all the differences we possibly can. You can now build bases. You can now interact with aliens. You can hire aliens when you do the base. When you build up your base, you can hire aliens, like we have one here. We can talk to this guy to figure out and find out what he's all about and what his specialty is, so that we know what he can do for us. So he is a farmer. He has he can serve our farming needs and things like that. So once we build a base and we get a farming situation going, then like we have to build an agricultural terminal or whatever, and he can kind of come in and help us with that. And you can make money off of those resources when you're building that stuff. So going out into exploration here, we're still in survival mode, and this is kind of where we're trying to get ourselves around here to find a decent planet to build a base on at this point. And we just keep getting attacked by ships, and they just annihilate us. There's nothing we can do with those ships as we're going to go. And once again, we're going to try to fight our way through, but we're going to die, as the survival mode was no joke at all, folks. Absolutely not a joke at all. Generation 5, death by ship combat. And that happens quite a few times too for that. But we finally do get ourselves a base established on a planet. And now we're in here. And this is actually creative mode. And we got like unlimited resources. And I did this just to kind of show you guys what it's all about. So now you can either build a base on a planet, or you can go get yourself a freighter and expand your freighter as well, which is pretty cool stuff too. I don't have any of the freighter footage. It kind of got corrupted. It's one of those things that's been happening to me a lot lately as I've been trying to work with the new Final Cut Pro. And it's one of those things that just kind of happens, but it is what it is. So taking a look at the base here, you can see that you can build a whole bunch of things. There's structures, infrastructure, structure. You can build some corridors. You can build rooms. You have kind of like, elbow bends there, 90-degree turns or whatever. And you have like the T's as well that you can put in there for hallways as you're building through some stuff to get the base going. And this is kind of like the infrastructure. Build ladders, you have construction terminals, you have the foundations, you have windows, all sorts of stuff here. So we're going to go ahead and drop in the T corridor here, T-shaped corridor, and to try to get this thing moving for us. And then we're going to build out I think we build out a room here, not even a corridor. So we're just going to build out a room for ourselves. Yep, that's what we're going to do. And we're going to put in some terminals here into this room. As we get that room all set up, you can go in here and then place more stuff into it to build it up exactly the way you want to. A lot of choices, a lot of depth to it, and it actually grows as you go too. There's stuff that you can learn how to build that you don't know, like have all the blueprints to. Here, I'm actually going to build myself kind of like a greenhouse. This is the 3rd level for me. You can actually stack these rooms on top of each other and build levels. So it's kind of cool in this regard. I build what's kind of like a greenhouse here, and this is where I'm going to house my my hydroponic trays or bays or whatever you want to call them. And I'm going to kind of slap these in here side by side, and with the sunlight and everything else, obviously the windows, that's kind of be my way of saying like, hey, this is how we're going to get the light in there. It's like a greenhouse effect type of deal, right? It's my own little creation, my own little idea or whatever. Some of this stuff kind of slaps in there and snaps in pretty easily, and some of it's a little harder to place. Here we can actually go out and pick some plants and put them in there, and I guess it's kind of limited with the plants that are available at first until you get like a farming expert or whatever to come that you can hire to come on in and help you out with that stuff. But you can plant these things, they grow, and then you can harvest them for the resources and then sell those resources, which will make you money, and that's pretty cool stuff. I'd like to see how this works out in survival mode. This was actually creative mode, so it's kind of just free build and sandbox and just kind of play around and see what it's like and do whatever you want to do. If you're one of those people who just kind of likes to build stuff and see how it goes, and that's the way you're going to do it. So here we go to the space station, and we're going to look to hire some people, aliens or whatever you want to look at here. So this guy here is a specialist in construction, and yeah, we built a construction terminal. So we're going to go ahead and hire him, and we're going to send him back, and he's like, you won't regret our association. I have the quarters to your planet or base. I'll meet you there. What is the word? Oh, yes, boss. That's right. I'm the boss man, and that's kind of the way it goes. Then we have the station terminus, which is like to teleport. You can actually teleport back to your base, which is some pretty cool stuff. You don't have to fly there. Kind of makes things a little bit quicker. I like the fact that they've added this feature into the game. I will tell you that the actual transport or teleport or whatever you want to call it takes quite a long time, to be honest with you. It took a few minutes going. I thought traveling by ship might have actually been faster. But anyway, we're back at our base here, and let's go see our friend that we just hired and see what he can do for us moving forward here. So we see him here at his terminal, and maybe we'll decorate his room a little bit for him as we go forward and see how he does and give him something to actually work with or look at more than this. So he's like, I'll provide the blueprints for any construction item you need, but before you start running around the galaxy to search for resources, allow me to present you with the Beacon Blueprint. This build a beacon to mark your location. You'll be able to return there with ease. So that's kind of nice. You can build the beacon, and then you can kind of color code it as well to help you remember a particular location. This will be good if you're looking for certain resources. I guess this will work better, like obviously in the survival mode, where you find a resource and you want to go back to that resource later on. You have a beacon to find your way back there, which is really cool. I like the fact that they've added this in there. It kind of gives the game a little bit more depth. And again, like I said, it's really building on something that is going to make this game amazing. And there's more to come too. There's definitely more to come. We can see here, we take a look at our hydroponics and we can see that we have some resources to harvest, and we do that. We absolutely do that. We go in there and harvest these resources, and this is a way to make some money, you know. Get these resources, you harvest them, you go, you sell them, or use them for whatever you need to use them for to build stuff. Here we're just going to kind of sell this stuff off and get ourselves the credits. And again, this is sandbox mode, so the credits really aren't all that important for us. But nonetheless, I just kind of wanted to show you what it was about. Go out there, you know, do some farming, sell your product, and get some money back for it for that. So that's that, you know, folks. I mean, pretty much that's what we're looking at here, as you can go in here and buy and sell in the Galactic Market like you did in the original game, and now with the patch as well. So that's going to do it for this. I want to thank you guys for stopping by and checking out. Just some thoughts and ideas here, or impressions, as we should say, about the new No Man's Sky and the patch that is now on the game, and a tremendous upgrade over what it was, really adding a lot to the game and giving this game a fighting chance, if you ask me. I kind of think it's now a fighting chance for this game, and I'm really excited to see what else they bring for us here going forward. Anyway, guys, leave your thoughts and your comments below. Let me know what you think. I want to know what you guys are thinking about this game and with this new patch, and what you feel like you're going to do with it. What's going to be your thing? You're going to build the freighter, you're going to build the base, you're going to go survival mode and kind of search your way through it. Let me know in the comments below. I'll see you around the channel, and goodbye now.